Good morning, everyone. I am NadiaBJones, and this is the 90-Day Vision Transformation Challenge. Today is Monday, so happy Monday, everyone. I hope everybody had a great weekend and was able to relax and, catch up on rest. Today is the first day of our second go-around of the 90-Day Vision Transformation Challenge. So I hope everyone is prepared. I hope everybody is ready and excited to begin this journey. Now, here's a little something I want everyone to remember when we're first starting out and going through this journey. Listen, I want everyone right now to show appreciation to the person that you've been, all right? Now, I know the person that you've been is not who you desire to be. The person that you've been is not a person that you feel, proud of. You may be a little embarrassed. You may be disappointed in that person that you've been. But I'm here to tell you now, don't be shameful and don't be disappointed in that person that you were. All right? Because here's the thing. We didn't mean to be who we've been. That wasn't intentional. A lot of things happen in our lives. A lot of traumas, a lot of, unfortunate circumstances came up. And it forced ourselves to go into survivor mode. And we started doing everything to preserve what was left of us, to preserve the parts of us that were not damaged by this world. And unfortunately, it led us down a road that caused a lot of harm to ourselves. All right? But at the same time, you did preserve certain parts of yourself. You kept it from this world. You put up walls, you put up barriers, and it led you to where you are now. So don't be mad at that person. Show that person some appreciation, because they got you to where you are now. The person that you have been, and with the help of God, got you to the point where you are now. And that person that you have been is also telling you, listen, I cannot carry you anymore. I can't carry you to the next levels of your life. Here's where we need to make ties, cut ties. Here's where we need to part ways. It's time for you to become someone else. It's time for you to become a better version of yourself to get to the next levels in your life. That person that you have been has come full circle, and they are very much well aware that they cannot continue to carry you, that you cannot continue to be in unison with them, that it's time for you to become something greater, something bigger. It's time for you to become a thriver. We're going from survivor mode into thriver mode. No longer will you be living out of fear. No longer will you be blocking your blessings with damaging behavior, with being connected to the wrong people, with planting yourself in the wrong environments. Now, you're about to become very intentional about your growth, very intentional about the person, the man or the woman that you are becoming. You are about to become extremely intentional. And you have to give yourself a round of applause. Give the person that you used to be, the person that you didn't mean to be in your past, give that person a round of applause, because they know that now is time to do something different. So congratulations to you and who you've been. Love that person, because that person got you to where you are now. Now, with that being said, forgive that person. Forgive yourself for allowing yourself to stay in situations, to be around people to be in environments that drained you, to be in environments and, in situations that took from you, took from your life force, that pushed you further away from God. Forgive yourself for that, okay? You have to make peace with yourself. You got to show yourself some love, the person that you've been, and you've got to forgive the person that you have been, okay? It's so important before we can even begin to transform who we are. Before we can even begin to transform our minds, we have to forgive ourselves, okay? You didn't mean to be who you've been. But now, today, starting today, going forward, you're going to be intentional about the person that you are becoming. You're going to be intentional about your growth. So everything that you do from this day forward is on purpose, because you're aware now. You have woke up and you've realized you've been living under your full potential. You realize you've been living mediocre. You realize you haven't been exerting yourself. You realize you haven't been, answering the call that God has placed on your life. And now you want to answer that call. Now you're going to be intentional about that. So do those two things. Show your old self some appreciation and forgive yourself. Okay? And now, after you have done that, y'all, and I know that's going to take some time. As a matter of fact, you're going to have to forgive yourself each and every day until you just really, truly forgive yourself. You're going to have to say, I forgive myself. I'm thankful for the person that I was, because they brought me full circle to this point of realization that I have to do better, that I have to be better. You're going to have to thank yourself and forgive yourself each and every day until one day you just wake up and you feel that burden just lift off of you. You'll just know that you have truly forgiven yourself. So keep work on that every day. And while you're doing that, what you also have to do to reactivate your imagination, that vision that you have written out, that vision that you sought, that you seek God for, that you seek God to reveal to you what He has called you to do in this world, what He has created you to be, and what He has called you to do. You have that vision written out. Now you got to think about your dream version of yourself, the dream man or the dream woman, the best version of yourself that you can think of, and imagine yourself living and walking out that purpose, living and walking out your purpose in life as the dream man or the dream woman that God has called you to be, that God has created you to be, doing what He has called you to do. You've got to start allowing yourself to get lost in your imagination and thinking and seeing and feeling yourself in your future. So what you do when you start, when you're reactivating your imagination, you're throwing yourself into your future. You're throwing yourself into the future that you actually want to live, that you actually desire to have, doing the things that bring you fulfillment, walking and living out in your purpose. That's what you're imagining when you picture yourself doing what's written down in your vision. That's what you need to do every day. Every day you wake up, make sure you make time to get lost in your imagination and to see yourself as God sees you. Ask God to give you the eyes to see you as He sees you, so that you can start really seeing yourself walk this purpose out, seeing yourself become that person, because God put it all on the inside of us. He's shown you what He has created you to do, and now you want to bring that vision that He put in your heart and in your mind into reality. And in order to do that, you have to start reactivating that imagination. You have to start getting lost in your imagination. It's so easy for us to think about the past and think about, the hurt and the pain of our past, and we relive vivid in our minds, and we go back in time. We time travel to our past. We feel these things as if they're actually happening in our present world, but they happened 5 years ago. But we, with our minds, our imaginations, we allow ourselves to go back, time travel, right? And we get stuck in our past, and we just keep on recreating hurt, pain, and trauma in our day-to-day lives. It's time to create love, abundance, and prosperity with our envisioning who God has created us to be, with our purpose. It's time for us to create a new reality. So instead of thinking about those worst case scenarios, which you do so well, I mean, we live in the wishing woods. A lot of times we say, I wish a person would, I wish a person would do this and would do that. And you imagine them coming at you sideways and you going oops upside their head, right? You can do that so easily, and it's clear as day. You going oops upside that person's head in your mind. Start thinking about the best case scenarios where you're living and you're thriving and you're prospering in life, doing the things that you never thought you would be able to do, doing the things that you have been too intimidated to even attempt in your life, right? But God showed you that you can do that. He wouldn't have showed you. He wouldn't have put it in your heart if it wasn't meant for you to do. If he didn't think that you had everything that you needed to do that. You already have those tools, and it's time for you to reactivate that imagination and get your mind thinking and being the creative being that God created you to be, thinking and being the person that God called you to be, and doing what he has called you to do. It's time to reactivate that imagination. It's time for you to make that change. So congratulations to everyone starting this journey today. We got 90 days of this. And another thing, your affirmation. You're going to be doing the same affirmation for 2 weeks. Every 2 weeks, we're going to change the affirmation. So always pick an affirmation that speaks to you, that speaks to the weakness, that speaks to the insecurities within you. Pick an affirmation that's going to target that weakness, target that insecurity, and cancel out the negative thoughts and feelings that you have with it, and reaffirm and confirm who God says you are. Because we are fearfully and wonderfully made. There is nothing weak about God's creation. There is nothing weak about us, y'all. We can do so much. God has not given us a spirit of fear, but the spirit of power, love, and a sound mind. Just remember that. So affirm with your weakness. Flip it. Whatever weakness or insecurity you have, flip it and reaffirm who God has called you to be and who God has created you to be. All right? So make sure, if you haven't gotten your affirmation together, make sure you get it together today. And with that affirmation, you're going to be writing it out at least 10 times before you wake up in the morning. Before you start your day in the morning, or if at night, right before you go to bed, write that affirmation out 10 times. There's power in repetition, and you need to get this embedded in your mind, your body, your soul, and your spirit, and reaffirm who God says you are. It won't happen overnight. It can't happen overnight, but through repetition, I'm telling you, you can transform your mind, and you can be thinking. You can become a whole different person just by transforming the way you think about yourself. I know everybody is ready to change that. I know everybody's ready to be intentional about the person that they are. Be intentional about their growth, right? Because everything we do going forward is intentional. We are trying to be great on purpose. We're not trying to be great on accident. It's hard to be great on accident. You really have to. Let me say this differently. We all have greatness on the inside of us, right? Just a natural light stemming from all of us. But if we don't know how to use our light, we can never be as great as we can, as God intended for us to be. So in order for us to be as great as God intended for us to be, we have to be intentional. We have to be intentional about using our gifts, sharpening our gifts, fine-tuning and growing with our gifts, growing with what God has given us on the inside of us. We have to be intentional about all of it, and we have to put it to use, y'all. So I know I said a lot in this video, but that's all I have for y'all today. I'll be back again tomorrow, and I want everybody to keep grinding.